Here comes Kim. Morena, Kim.
Morena,
Morena.
have you got two up, Megan?
What's that?
You've got two.
Oh, I'm at a different place, and so I've got a backup.
I see. Sorry, you can't see me.
No,
Yeah.
so just in case anything goes sour, it's my plan B.
Oh, your backup plan B, right? Yes.
As long as its batteries don't go flat because it's not being charged. Oh, it should be.
Okay.
And of course, you've got a new background too.
Oh yes, well you prompted me that it was about time I changed it, so
Oh.
Well, the wallpaper was getting a bit faded.
yeah. So it just shows when I sign on early I can play around, but when I don't, I just go with whatever the background is.
It's a
Right.
nice
So we've got Dyson Council this afternoon, so it's time for a fresh background.
Okay.
Yes. And is that a photo that you've taken yourself or from Google?
No, it was a CD of images that I got way back when I was in Pukekohe Parish. So
Wow.
yeah. So
Nice.
quite nice to be able to use.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've got my hand. Let's have a look. Oh yes, here we go. That's taken down at the Pemua Basin. I took that on Monday morning on my walk on my hikoi, and I had a vestry meeting on yesterday, and so I opened up the meeting and let everybody sort of just arrive and talk and mix and before I actually showed my face, and I heard them saying, "Oh, Jacinthia's got some ducks. Oh, where does she live? Oh, she must live in a beautiful place in Auckland." You could hear them saying, "Does she live in Auckland?" Well, yeah. Auckland has some beautiful places. They were having this conversation about my 4 ducks. And then somebody says, "Well, I think that's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John." Oh, it was so funny listening to them, talking about my photo.
Wow. Everybody must be busy today.
Oh, it's 10:03.
Oh,
gosh, time goes quickly, eh?
it does. Oh well.
Well,
Hope our singing voices are good, Kim.
I'll just mute myself, okay?
oh no, you don't. Because when there's only one or two of us, well, the tasks get put on you fellas.
That's what we're saying.
All good. All good. They'll probably come. They're probably, last minute chores.
That's all right.
Okay. Well, shall we start?
Yes.
I wonder if we share the opening karakia, which is, the resource. It's back to that resource that we shared last week. And if we share it starting with, say, you, Kim, is that all right?
Mm.
And Megan, if you take the second slide and I'll take the third.
Okay.
Kapai?
Kapai.
Okay.
Ooh. I've just got to clear my screen so I can see it all. Yeah.
Just take it slowly and, deliberately. All good.
Kora piko kia ioa I roto I te taha ahua o te tapu kia wehi raki tono aroa I te whanua katoa. E nui e atu no rea kia tika kai whakapianga ala. Amine.
Ne.
E whakaparapai. E whakapaoria. E whakakaora nui. Whakaoria miiti. E whakaono ore. He wehi. Me te hiki tō. tatu, atu, ake, ake.
Ake. Hīmene.
Hei mua koe i a mātou e ihoa. He tuhu i a mātou mahi katoa. Ko koe anō hoki hei whakakaha i a mātou. Kia whā, ko rōria ai koe. Kia mātou mahi katoa. He mea tamata, he mea mahi. He mea whakaoti i ruto i a koe. Kia whiwhi ai. Hoki mātou ki te ora tonu. E te mea. E ata whai tia ana nei e koe. Ko ehu karaiti hoku ko mātou ariki. Amen.
Hīmene. Kia tau te rangi Māori o te atua kia koutou.
Hei te atua koe e manaki.
Lovely. Kia ora. Tēnā kōrua. Tēnā kōrua. Just a recap. Just practice your vowels. Practice your vowels. It's the e, o. So it's the o. I think it's the o that gets you. Yeah. Yeah. There's a tendency to go o.
Yeah. Really easy.
Yeah.
So just watch that o.
But or is through the back of the mouth, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
the
it
back
is.
of the tongue. Yeah. Or. Or.
Yeah, so to always remember that e, o, e, o. And it'll be, yeah, we'll know, you know, it comes back to us actually knowing what you're saying, because they may not necessarily have words in front of them. If it were Māori, sorry, or if it were Pākehā that understood Māori as well. So anyone. Okay, ka pai, well done, mahi tikana. And of course, this is we know this one, eh? Yeah.
Yep.
It's good to practice though, to rehearse.
Yeah.
We're practicing the tune, I take it, rather than the actions. Yeah.
Oh, I can give it.
Okay. Okay.
It's good.
Now, what?
I keep practicing the actions. I learn it.
Ready? Toru wha. No mai piki mai. Nā irie. Nā rero ngā mana. Tēnara koutou katoa. Anō te paine e ahoreka. O te katoa. Nā mai piki mai. E ngā irie. Nā reo ngā mana. Tēnara koutou katoa. Tēnara koutou katoa. Well done. Oh, well done. I'm very impressed, Megan. Very impressed. And of course, you don't even have to look at anything. So you're actually remembering that, aren't you?
Well, you're remembering it. I'm just getting my head around the words here. Yeah. I can't do that, you know. It doesn't work.
That multi.
You know, I made everything into a playlist, and so I can listen to it when I have time to listen to it. So then I'm trying to sing along with it.
Okay, right.
The action. So yeah.
Yes. Yes. And of course, once you learn the tune, like you say, Kim, once you learn the tune and you learn the words, and you no longer have to rely on, I don't know which one is better. Learn the words first or learn the actions first.
Yeah, it's a bit of, you need both actually, because the actions help you remember what the words are.
True.
Yeah.
True, because you know that action there, you know, it's about, you know, projecting your voice. Yeah. Good
And
point.
it's the same with the Te Ariki one. I learned it better once I knew the actions because I could put the words to the actions.
Yes. And of course, the actions are relevant to the words. So
and that's what it's
yes.
all about, isn't it? The action.
Yeah.
Say what you're saying. So.
And that helps.
Yeah.
So is that tune sitting comfortable with you, Kim?
Yeah.
Yep.
I just got
Cool.
once you first note I was away, I was fine. Yeah, I remember the tune.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I've started it on a low note. And
You
what
did.
about you, Minnie? You're comfortable with that song? With that way of that?
Yep, I can do that one. Yes.
Cool. And so what's lovely is that, at some stage or another, you can share it with other people within your LSM units. And you don't have to actually teach it. You just use the resource. Just sit there and play, repeat, and they'll pick it up and they'll enjoy it, and certain things you can do, like, running sort of, you can even run if you were brave enough, you could run a competition in your teams and see who can remember the actions. But well done. Cool. And this one, of course, we learned last week, which is Kingies. And you've got the resource for that with the Māori Anglican Club singing at the Baptist Church across the road at Holy Sepulchre there in Kaba Pass in Grafton. And so beautiful, and it's still used. I think I told you, we use it often when Bishop Kittle gets up to speak. It's probably one of the most used ones when Bishop Kittle gets up to speak. If Kittle starts a song, he might not start with this one. He might do something else and then we all come in. But most times he leaves it to one of us. And this is the stock standard one that we sing because we know everybody knows it. And of course, it's hymn number 198.
All right. We might need to put that on the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hymn number 198 of our Māori hymn book.
Yeah. Because then when we get the hymn book, we'll say, hey, I know some of these.
Yes. Good point.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I was surfing around on... I was looking for one of the songs we're learning today. I was looking for something from the Anglican Club because it's Kingi wrote it. I couldn't find anything, but I found all these other resources that were there. There was the Māori Hīmene book from way back in 1930 something, I think it was. Don't quote me, but it was just a beautiful old book. I've never seen it, and it's got all those old songs in it. Not Kingi's, so it's pre-Kingi. Because Kingi started composing songs in the 70s, 60s, 70s. It's before him. And one of the hymns I was wanting to teach today was E Oho, which is number 1, which is Wake Up, Wake Up. It's a morning hymn, or beginning hymn. I won't teach it today. I'll find some more resources around it, particularly in its meaning. I'll have a talk to the people who might be in authority on it, like Kittle or Bishop George. But this one. Excuse me. Ooh. Kia tata aki tō manawa. You remember that one, eh? Oh, it's a bit high for me. Sorry.
Bit high, yeah.
Bit high for me. Kia tata aki tō manawa. Ia peria ia koe te ariki. Kia tata aki tō mapai. Aro o painu. Mana roto I te ai oe. And so, of course, you've got a wonderful version of that of the Māori Anglican Club singing it. So with this one, Kim, perhaps one of the things that might help you, both of you really, is if you say it first, you know, go through the pronunciation of the words kia tata au ki tō manawa. And bearing in mind there's no macrons across the manawa, so it's quick and fast, manawa. Yeah. Whereas the TO has got a macron, so it's tō, you know, longer rather than tō. So if you were to say the words, that's half, or, you know, a third of the challenge for you is to be able to say it. Kia tata au. So if you remember the a, e, I, o, u, so it's au, au, kia tata au.
Kia tata au, au.
Au, really short and sharp. Kia tata au. And it does come out sounding like au. Kia tata au ki tō manawa. Kia piri au ki te koe te ariki. Kia tata au ki tō umapai.
Na ho raro awiro. Na ho ruto e te
That's a hard word to say too, that aio. Aio. Yeah. Because it's got that macron over the A. Even Māori, even me, I have difficulty at times. I have to kind of get ready for it. I have to prepare for it. I can see it. I know it's there, and I have to prepare for it as I'm reading along. So it's a tricky one. But
and it's every letter is pronounced, isn't it? Which makes it.
Yeah.
Temptation is to make it into a syllable.
So you would say roto I te ai o e.
Yeah, I, o, e.
Ai o e. Yeah. And it's a real sort of tongue, mouth coordination, you know, all the back of the throat, you know, as you say, Kim, you know, the o is from the back of the throat or back of the mouth, and aio. Aio. So you can hear them all, eh? A, I, o.
Yeah. Aio.
Aio e. And so that would be a great help with all the waiata, really, if you could say it first, go over it and over it and over it and over it, and then introduce the tune, the music, and then start singing along, because now you know how to say it and how to pronounce it, and then sing it, and then maybe introduce, or in this case there's no actions, but, you know, in the others then introduce maybe the actions. So that's a particularly beautiful one, and it's got a lot of sentiment. I think this one, because it's used at places of, you know, significant visits where we go to as a ope, and ope is a group, like a roku. Roku is group, and ope is it's a little bit deeper and bigger than a group. It's about people. So you can have a group of people. But if you have an ope is about a group of people they're on the one wavelength, they're on the one reason that they've gathered. Do you know what I mean by that? You know, that's the difference between just a group of people gathered somewhere, and an ope is specific. They've come together for a specific reason, and they travel together for a specific reason.
Cool. So I think what I noticed was that it's a totally different pace to all the other waiata we've been attempting. And so that took me by surprise last week. And it was sort of, got to slow down. This is a deeper song. And not, it's, and you just got to keep hearing it, I find.
Yeah, and it is beautiful. It is beautiful, used at the right time. You know, if you went along to, because you're talking about affections and, you know, coming into the bosom and take me under your wing, and it's just lovely. It's really lovely. And I am not a gift to you, you are a gift to me.
Yeah.
Recognizing God's presence. And I think that's, you know, the others are similar, but I guess it's probably the music that jumps around, you know, that makes you sort of bounce around, whereas you wouldn't bounce to this. More of a lament.
Yeah.
It's sort of coming in from that lament tradition, but it's not a lament, but it's got that lilt. Like he tikanga whakapono, you know, the Apostles' Creed and them, that they have a tune now, and it's that lament, same sort of category, really. Cool. And of course, you know this one. This is that echo one. You want to give it a go, Kim, and we'll echo after you.
No, tune's gone.
Don't you laugh, Megan, because you're next.
Yeah.
You want to have a go? Because you know this.
Yeah, I know the tune. Okay. Tēna koutou.
Tēna koutou.
E hoa mai.
E hoa mai.
Kua tai mai nei.
Kua tai mai nei.
I tēnei wā.
I tēnei wā.
No reira rā.
No reira rā.
E hoa mai.
E hoa mai.
I ora rā.
I ora rā.
Koutou koutoa.
Katoa katoa.
Kua ronga hoki a
Kua
Kua ronga hoki a ho. Kua ronga hoki a ho. Ke te kai mai katoa.
no reira rā.
Reira rā.
E hoa mai.
E hoa mai.
I ora rā.
I ora rā.
Koutou koutoa.
Katoa
Katoa.
katoa.
Well done,
Well
Chad. Neat, all right.
Vegan, yay.
Neat, all right. Practice.
Yeah.
It's really hard
And,
because
you know,
I've always thought I couldn't sing. You know, I've always said that. I remember being somewhere and someone next to me said, "Do you sing flat?"
oh,
It's funny how that sort of just stops you
Stays
even
with you,
attempting
yeah.
it. However, with all these waiata, it's just sort of given me that bit of confidence. Just give it a go, and
yes.
I can tape myself and listen to myself nowadays, so I can actually hear whether it sounds
Yeah.
all right. And I'm thinking that's okay.
Wonderful.
So yeah,
Cool.
we can all learn something.
Well, I often say, that I tell people, oh, look, I'm not a very good singer. I tell them, I warn them all. I'm not a very good singer, but man, I'm awesome when I'm singing with 40 other people.
Yeah.
They make me sound awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and by that, of course, I mean any choirs that I'm involved with in the Māori Anglican Club. So, yeah. No, cool. So you'd be okay with that one too, eh, Kim?
Yeah. Now I've got.
You get yes, keeping the tunes going in your head. That
Yes. And having a bit of a warm up, you know. So you know, as a coordinator, Megan, I think, you know, there would be many a time really that you could pull on this.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Thank you.
Just that you're giving her permission to do things for us.
But I'm just saying, you know,
so that people could manage this one.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. When you're, I mean, I if you keep avoiding it, then, you know, but it'll become normalized, you know. Once
and I have to have it on my phone so I can just open it and see it on my phone. Yeah. Oh, you'll have to excuse me for about 3 minutes. Is that all right?
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Please, rub your back. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, no, well done, Megan. So I was just thinking, you know, it may not be that way anymore, given that, you know, you've sort of crossed the threshold with the collaborative hui that you've just run, being a 3 tikanga approach. But in the past, you know, you, as a collaborative hui, as the coordinator, you used to welcome people, myself included, over the years. And this would have been an excellent.
It would have been, wouldn't it? We just weren't up to scratch. We were in our Pākehā world.
Yes.
That's where we were, you know. We am not into sharing leadership, which was our mistake, really.
Yes, and you really cross the threshold, you know, and of course that of course means that you could still use it. You could still use it in that collaborative new model when it came to each tikanga, you know, giving a presentation, as it were, or doing, you know, doing an introduction for themselves, for each tikanga to do an introduction of themselves as opposed to the individuality. Then that can still be used as because you are still welcoming your brothers and sisters into your midst as well.
Yes, I used it when I did this session on Lecto Divino. And so, you know, it was my session, and I thought, right, we're all gathered here. We've come into the room. We've all just sat down, and then I led with that. So
fabulous.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I would have liked some feedback, I think, to say, oh, that was a good idea, but you know, you don't often get that.
Yes. You mean from your own or from anyone in the group?
From anyone in the group. It would just be nice to say, yes, that was appropriate, or
oh, yes, to be encouraged.
It's nice to be welcomed.
Yeah.
Before
that's right. And I think a lot of that sort of encouragement is sort of left unsaid, which is sad. And in some ways, it's probably because it's like, oh, well, she was supposed to do that anyway. You know, like it's supposed to be done. So
that's that what. Yeah. So I mean, didn't really mind. I was just sort of pleased with myself. I thought, yes, I did it.
Yes. Well done. Yeah.
Can I speak to that for a moment? That I do tend to use a Māori greeting when I stand up to speak, but then I'm also aware that much of my audience is Pākehā, and I make no apology for it. But then to go further and do something like this for a totally Pākehā audience, am I being tokenistic or? But then I keep reminding myself that we're all New Zealanders and this is part of who we are, you know. I have this struggle in trying to give myself permission, I suppose, to do it.
Yes. Well, my next question, of course, was going to be who's making you feel uncomfortable, yourself or the people that you're with? And
I think my expectation that I will get some kickback, some pushback,
Right.
Yeah. Because you're not Maori, you know, so how can you be speaking in Te Reo?
Yeah, and I think that's a phenomena that's out there quite a lot, and it saddens me that everyone thinks that you have to be Māori to speak Te Reo. I think that's quite sad, really. It's a language, you know. I mean, we all went to school. All three of us probably went to school in mainstream schooling anyway, and we learned French and we learned, you know, other languages, and that was taught to us in a school. So why wouldn't we also be learning Te Reo Māori? And we're not French.
No, and my greatest disappointment is that we were never taught Māori when we were at school.
Yeah,
when I was a kid. No, never part of it.
Yeah,
I had a term. I had a term of Māori language.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I was in that group to say, well, why the heck am I learning this?
Yes.
Yeah,
and I understand, and that's still out there. You're
but I
quite
regret
right.
it now. I regret it now. I should have just done it, but yeah.
I guess the encouragement that I could give you, Kim, would be that you know, it's about how you respond to that. You know, yes, there might be kickback, but then it's about how you actually respond to that. In that, you know, you don't have to be Māori to speak Te Reo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think coming back from Australia, I'm very much aware that, you know, I am a Kiwi. I'm a New Zealander, and Aotearoa is my homeland, and sort of in my genes, in a sense, you know.
I think for our church setting, particularly, I think we're open to be able to do this no matter what.
Well, that's what I think. That's what I understand and what I want to do.
Yeah,
but I'm having this kind of tussle with myself when I do it.
Yes.
And then I'll do it and make no apology for doing it. That's me, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm busy still learning that, you know, the welcome that I did, you know, kia ora, kia orana, nisa, bulavanaka. And I thought, that's actually what I should be saying. You know, cover all, you know, the Māori and the Pākehā and some of the Pacific languages. I mean, And then in my emails, I'm, starting to,
Yeah, I think that's
hellos and thank yous.
I think you've done a bit of paste and copy there, my dear.
I do from now on, yes. Am I getting my point across though?
Yes.
Particularly to all the Māoris, emails, it's sort of, well, no, I'm not just going to do your language. I'm going to do them all. Because that's, if we're going to collaborate, then we start acknowledging everyone's language.
It's greatly appreciated, I assure you.
Yeah,
it's greatly appreciated, not just from a Māori perspective, but yesterday I was on a Zoom meeting, and I was with Winston Halapua, Archbishop Emeritus Winston Halapua, and Faye, and they're both Tongan, and then we had a Samoan person there and one Fijian person there, right? Bishop Henry Ball, and as the meeting was chaired and went on, and then when we all first spoke, everyone says, "Oh, kia ora, everybody," the Māori ones anyway. "Oh, kia ora, everybody," and I was the first one that opened up with "Malo."
Yeah.
Palofa lava, bula, namaste, kia ora, and greetings to you all. And I could, Winston, I could hear him. We couldn't see him, but we could hear him, and he went, "Malo, malo, malo."
They do, and they reply, don't they? Because I found that when I first used that introduction, the Pacific people did reply to the response when it got to them. The one that said hello to them, they say it back to you.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So they definitely do appreciate it.
Yeah. It's just that little bit of effort, really.
Yeah. So, and especially for someone like Winston, Archbishop Winston.
Yep.
We're working together on a Indigenous approach to what's the right wording for it? It was born out of the BLM, about that sort of I'm sorry, I haven't prepared myself for what I was about to say. But it is a response about an Indigenous approach to, in some ways, environmental racism. And that covers a whole ambit of things, and it comes out of ACC. So we've seconded Archbishop Winston to help us with the climate change, which he's been a huge voice out in the ACC, the communion arena, for years and years and years. And then there's others of us that will pick up all the other aspects of that. But it was the BLM that it came out of, and ACC conducting this webinar. So it was nice, and I said, don't forget to use our languages now. Don't forget. It's an Indigenous voice. Come on. Anyway. Okay, so we know that one. We also know this one. What's our time? Okay. E te ariki whakarongo mai ra kia mātou. E te ariki titiro mai ra kia mātou.
Wasn't that not that one?
Hey, mātou.
Oh, yes. E whakapono ana mātou ki a koe. Oh, e. Oh, e. Te matua te tamaiti, wairua tapu e. Te matua te tamaiti, wairua tapu e. Lovely. Yeah, good one. Well done, Megan. You're doing well. And they're nice and easy, those actions.
They go with it. And
yeah, really, really easy. And it's a good fun thing, it's a good fun thing to have with some of the people in your unit.
Yeah. Although I have to say, I put in, the other resource I put in recording of this goes a lot quicker. And I was a bit stumped. So
it goes.
Your recording and thought, oh yes, I can work this one. So.
Yeah, it does. It does. But I think the simplicity of it all, and when you explain that it's when you're talking about God or Ariki, it's always here, eh? So, and even the whakarongo is about the ears. So when people know, and Mātou is us, God, us, tamariki, all of us. You know, when you go through that, it's a lot easier. But it's a wonderful thing to do as a group. Just even if you've got a big strat meeting going on or a big meeting that's going to be in all day, this is a good breaker.
Yeah.
To get people up.
Yeah.
Cool. This one's fun. This is a new one.
Yeah.
This is hymn number 144. I have to put that on the PowerPoint too. Hymn 144 in our Māori hymn book. I don't know who wrote it. I'll find out if I can. It's one of my favourites. I didn't learn this really until, probably about only 20 years ago, I suppose. But we haven't put any actions to it. I've asked many young people to put actions to it, and nobody has. So it doesn't have any actions at this point. It doesn't mean that we can't come up with an LSM model options for this song, because we can. But this one's lovely. It's a real upbeat. It's another 3/4. Tērā nā mana ki tāna, tērā te aroha nui, tērā te wā o te hari, ki te kai whakaora. Mana ki tāna, me te aroha nui, mana ki te maira mātou, e te ariki pai. Tērā nā mana ki tāna, moku kia ora ai. Tērā te tō mai rangi, e heke iho ne. Mana ki tāna, me te aroha nui, mana ki te maira mātou, e te ariki pai. Tērā nā mana ki tāna, o mai e te atua, tukua kia toha ana, ki runga i te ao. Mana ki tāna, me te aroha nui, mana ki te maira mātou, e te ariki pai. Karangara te katoa, ki tēnei rongo pai. Ko iho kei te ora, hei kingi mō te ao. Mana ki tāna, e te aroha nui, mana ki te maira mātou, e te ariki pai. E te ariki pai. Have you heard it before?
No.
Yes, I've heard the tune before. I've heard it somewhere, but I never known what the words were.
Tune, yes. Well, I don't even know whether we stole the tune. We may have. This is a really neat one to go to finish your service.
Right.
He hīmene whakamutuna. Because guaranteed, doesn't matter how many times I've done, I do it, and I do it as often as I possibly can when I'm presiding. I use this one to go out on, because it's got that da 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 da, and you see them when they're singing. They really enjoy it and they're smiling. So when they come past you at the back of the church, they're smiling. They're just like in a good mood, and it sends them off in this really, really, in this wonderful place in their nākau, you know, in their wairua. Their whole wairua has been lifted, and they leave your whare karakia feeling that way because of the song. And that's been my experience. And it's got to be kept up at quite a da 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 da. You know, it's got to have a good pace on it, eh? And of course, you know, I've highlighted in this case all the words because there isn't any literal translation anywhere. And so I'm not a translator, but I can certainly, you know, expound on what it is. So tēra means that. That is the protection. Ngā is plural. And so that's you know, tēra ngā manaakitanga. So, you know, there's lots of protection. Tēra te aroha nui, there's lots of big loves. Tēra te wā o te hari, there's lots of happiness at the time. Wā is kind of now. Tēra te wā o te hari, this is the time of happiness. Ki te whakaora to our Saviour. Manaakitanga, of course, is protection. Me te aroha nui is lots of love. Manaaki tia maira mātou. Here's a little test for you, Kim. Mātou means
Father.
Mātou. M-A-T-O-U.
Isn't
means
parents?
No. Mātou means us.
Us, yes.
Us, not
yes.
God.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Minus the person you're talking to.
Yes.
Minus the person you're talking to. So we're talking to God. You know, to protect us. Protect us. E te ariki pai. Good Lord, protect us. Send us lots of your love and protect us. Yeah, so we're speaking to God. We're singing to God. Tēra nā manaakitanga, again, the protection. Mōku kia ora ai. So that mōku is when we were going through our pepeha, just a wee recap here, we talked about tōku and taku and some things you don't have control over. So when it's that ōku category, OKU category, you have no control over it. You only have control over who you choose for your spouse, whether you have children. You have control over that. And so in this case, when you protect us, we are well, and it's not our control. It's out of our control. It's in God's hands. Tēra te tō mai rangi. I love this. I love these two sentences. You know, tō mai rangi is like, you know, when you're washed over, when the dew settles on you. Tō mai rangi actually does mean sort of dew or mist. So that is the dew or the washing over, e heke iho nei, down upon. It's descending upon me. Beautiful, beautiful words for that. Over on the right-hand side, homai te atua. Homai means to give, come this way. Mai is in a coming direction. Atu is to go away. So when it's haere mai, come towards me. Homai is the same thing. Give to me. Offer it to me. But it's in the direction of you, coming this way. E te atua. Tukua kia toha ana. Release. Release. Toha. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it is about that, you know, that protection again. that we receive from you, God, that we want to receive from you, and release it upon the whole world. That's what that whole verse is about, which is lovely. So we've been descended upon like a mist, and now we continue to ask for that to be spread throughout the world, that same love, that same manaki. Karangatia is to call. Rā te katoa means all. So koutou means you, more than two people. Koutou is you, and we usually say tēnā koutou katoa, as you know. So the word katoa on its own means all, everything. So calling all, ki tēnei rongo pai, to this gospel. So call everyone to this gospel. Ko ihu kei te ora that Jesus is the wellness, the well of wellness, a kingi mo te ao, and the king of the world. So they're lovely words. And of course, you know, and when you think about those words and you're sort of, you know, bouncing in your pew, or everyone's standing, of course. But when I'm recessing, this is just a personal thing. I'm sure it irritates some people, but I have a tendency to dance to this song when I'm recessing. I stop and I dance, and I stop and I look at people and I boogie, and you see them, they join in, and I give them permission to dance. You don't have to look all sad and somber and serious. Yes, they're serious words, but they should be done in joy and happiness. So it is a particular favourite of mine, and if I'm allowed to choose the recessional hymn, it's usually this one. And Kito loves it. He likes it. He doesn't dance, but but he likes it. So I haven't had a look around to see whether I can find a soundtrack on this one. You might be able to find one,
Have a look,
Megan, that we can accompany, certainly, so that we got the tune. But otherwise, you know, I've sung it all the way through, and it's quite a kid, and it's got to have that tērā nā mana ki tanga, tērā te aroha nui, tērā te wā o te hari, ki te kai whakaora, mana ki tanga, me te aroha nui, mana ki te amaira mātou, e te ariki pai. So that's a good one for the kete, eh?
Yeah.
Very catchy. So we'll have a look for a soundtrack for that in due course, Kim, and then that'll help with with learning it. But again, you know, go through it, say it first. Tērā ngā mana ki tanga. Say it all through first, and then bring in the tune, and then lovely, 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 lovely hymn. Beautiful. But I can't tell you who wrote it, but I'll inquire. Did you want to ask me anything on that?
No. No. Stay tuned for the actions next time.
I think we should. I think we should come.
I was sort of thinking, I guess I'd do this then and that then. I probably will.
Yeah, and I think, you know, because you've got the crew transition, as it were, you know, like I can already see in my head, you know, the imagery of what that looks like. So protect, for instance, just very quickly, I won't ponder here because I've got another one to introduce you to, but protect is kind of a cross.
Yeah.
That's already an action. Yeah, it's protect. Yeah.
Okay.
And kai whakaora would be just straight up, probably.
Yeah.
What else would be another one? Tō mai rangi to do e heke. When it's e heke, its hands are up, and then it's down. You bring it down, and you bring it to you.
Yeah. All right.
Or you could bring it down. You don't have to. You can bring it down and bring your hands all the way down, and then use that. You know, the action in no mai, piki mai.
Right.
And then use that. Yeah. To descend upon all, kind of thing. So there's, you know, enough actions to play around with, actually.
Yeah.
Yep, there's enough words there.
That we could, as an LSM unit, certainly consider coming up with some actions. Yep. There might be actions out there, but there's nothing that's universal, let's say, that I'm aware of. Okay. This one is a little bit, it's up there with Kia Tata Au. Written by Kingi Ihaka. It's used a lot Eastertide, you know, in the lead up to Easter, often. The Māori Anglican clubs sing it often, particularly during the Holy Week. Doesn't have to be in Holy Week, but it was introduced, I guess, really during that time. Kingi wrote this himself. The tune, as far as I know, is unique to this waiata, but I'll sing it and then tell me if we stole the tune. But all the Kingi Ihaka songs that I sing, I'm singing them in his tune. Right. So I haven't learnt it any other way. Occasionally I hear different versions, and you know, I heard a different version of one of his songs at the Collaborative Hui. But the ones that I sing in Taha Māori are the original Kingi Ihaka tunes. So this one's very lamentish. Anyway. Me mau koe I tori peka, e ai ta I hukupu mai, me ka peko ngā he kato, ka aru pono aia. Me mau koe I tori peka, tai mahi mai ke wehi koe, kei ai ara te kahapo, ke hoha koe ke ru whānau. Me mau koe I tori peka, tawaia koe ke whakama, ke whakaro ngō iho koe, ngā nuku no ngā a kohe. Me mau koe I tori peka, kia maia a tutuki no, he kainga pai te kainga mo, e oki I hoai. Me mau koe I tori peka, kia pono koe a mate no, koe whiwhi ai, ki te karaunga tino pai. Hīmene. It's beautiful. Do you recognize the tune at all?
No, not at all.
I think one of the easiest things about this is that it doesn't have a bridge. There's no bridge in it, so it's the same all the way. So really, you're only having to learn the tune of one verse.
Yeah.
You're having to learn the words of many verses, but you're only having to learn the tune once, and it's just repetitive. There are some, and I'll send it to you, Megan. There are some soundtracks that are out there, but there's nothing where it's just on its own or YouTube or anything like that. It's not something, it's been around for a very long time. The thing I like about this Hīmene is it's actually a song to us. You'll note that there's no ariki, atua, ihu karaiti. You probably will have noticed that there's none of that language. So we're actually singing the song to ourselves and the person in our midst to pick up your cross. Or we could see it as God singing it to us. Either way, I think it's quite acceptable. It's quite an acceptable perception. But we are actually talking to us. Me mau koe I, pick up and carry your cross. E ai tai ihu, ihu is there. And etch the word of Christ. To etch the word of Christ. Me kape ko ngā he katoa, to reject all wrongs. He is wrongs. Ka aru pono ai I au, and pursue truth. Me mau koe I tō ripe ka taimaha, heaviness, like we're now saying, pick up your cross and take the heaviness of the cross with you. Sometimes you can be a little overawed by the burden, by the weight. And to him, ia, the word ia is to him, really. We're talking about outside ourselves. Where do we get our strength? Our strength is gained by carrying the cross. Hei koha koe hei rufa noa. So don't be weary. Or if you are weary, you'll be strengthened by picking up your cross and carrying it. Don't be exhausted. This is the way in which you can overcome that. Tawaia, ridicule and embarrassed. Whakamā is to be embarrassed. So when you pick up your cross, bear yourself. Bear the things that you've been hiding, that you keep from God, or that you think you keep from God. and you might feel ridiculed. You can't share it with anybody. There's a different person on the outside than there is on the inside, if I could put it that way. So when you pick up that cross, you need to take that ridicule with you, and don't be embarrassed to expose it whilst carrying your cross. Hei whakarongo, and listen to the inner voice, to the inner when you're going through this and exposing yourself and becoming vulnerable. And by that, it doesn't mean being vulnerable to your fellow Christian. It's about being vulnerable to God. You're exposing yourself to God, and then listen. And it's a way in which all the deviousness in you and all those wrongs is, until you actually carry them and make yourself vulnerable to God, are you able to listen? Otherwise you're deaf. perhaps is the best way to explain that verse. And then, of course, now we're kind of, we've broken down, we've had our tears, the usual sort of road to carrying, whilst you're carrying that cross. And then there's a sense of, relief. You're beginning to feel you've exposed yourself to God, you've taken all your worries to him, as it were, and then now we carry your cross, and now we're becoming brave, and we'll succeed. You'll have more success in dealing with those things that are on that cross, and the cross becomes lighter. And your home, he kainga pai, your home, and it doesn't necessarily mean physically a house, but your surroundings, whatever environment you're in, your heart is your home, your whole wairua, everything about you is your home, will start to come good. And you'll be able to rest. Oki oki is rest. You can rest a little. So it's okay to carry your cross, have a rest. If you still need to take some more ridicule and embarrassment with you, then carry on the journey. But it's okay to rest. Kia pono koe e a mate no, yeah. Be true to your own wellness. Oops, I got a typo there. Be true to your own wellness. And again, it is about being tika, a word we call tika and pono, to be truthful. Don't try and make it into something that it's not. Koe reira la koe whiwhi ai. Yeah, and then at that time, when you arrive there, you will obtain the crown of goodness. Tino pai is goodness, the best goodness you can have. Tino is the most bestest. Or it could be tino pai nui, the biggest. Nui is big. Tino is absolute, the most you can have. So it's a beautiful hymn, and beautifully written by Tākingi, and just those words are just fabulous. There's a sermon in itself.
Yeah.
If you were, and that is, I mean, I've just come up with that really now, but when I think about it, that's actually quite a feasible sort of thing, to actually use a hymn like this in an appropriate reading and unpack it.
Yeah.
For a sermon, I think that'd be, really marvelous.
Yep.
So that's another one, and again, I'll send you the link. You might be able to play with it. There are a couple of sites that have the earlier Anglican Māori Club when Kingi was still alive, right, where they sing this. There's nothing on YouTube or anything like that. They're in what's called taonga, waiata, and stuff like that. I might be able to find it on my other computer. I'd have to have a look.
Okay.
Them singing it. I mean, you heard me sing it.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, great.
Did you want to ask me anything about this hymn?
Is it actually in the hymn book? Is it the Hīmene something? Or
yes, it is. Oh,
you'll need to. You'll research that.
Yeah, it is in here. Hang on, I'll be able to tell. Well, I mean, yeah, I'll insert it.
Yeah.
And it's at the back.
All right.
Yeah, I'd have to have a look. I'll let you know. Sorry, I've
right. Well, you just hadn't mentioned whether it was in the Hīmene book or not. So it is in the Hīmene book. Good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I would have to have a proper look for it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Pretty sure it is. Yeah, so that's it's beautiful, and it's just a beautiful hymn, like many hymns. It's I don't know whether the structure of I don't think the structure of Māori hymns are any different to Paki hymns. I think they're the same.
I think they just say less. They say less but mean more.
Right.
Does that make sense? I mean, we'll use all the words and make a really long sentence, and you just use a short sentence with words that mean all that and encompass it. It's that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
So it's deep.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's that sort of poetry that I speak about, that lament that I speak about, you know, something that, when it's said or when it's sung, it just says 1,000 things, you know, and you think, wow, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I think one of the ones is that, you know, tā waia koe kei whakamā.
Yeah.
Don't feel ridiculed and don't feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
To carry your cross and bear yourself. Wow. You know, and if you were in that mode, if you were in that sort of contemplative mode and you were retreating to actually to overcome something perhaps, that's going to bring you to tears when you unpack it. Hey. Anyway, so that's the introduction of 2 new Hīmene, and that concludes our Waiata session for August. And thank you for coming along, Kim and Megan. It's been wonderful to be able to share some of these Waiata, and I know it won't be the last. There'll be more to come. Megan and I will continue to strategize about what's next, but it feels like a wealth of, a well of something, a well of order, or a well of order by ORA, wellness. Feels good.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. So who is going to close us?
Megan.
Yeah.
Ka pai.
Kia noho e hoa kia koutou.
Ma ihua koe e tia.
E te atua kaharawa. E tu wera ana na nākau katou kia koe. E mohitia ana na hia katoa. E hori hoki I ngaro I a koe te mea huna. Whakahangi ia iho tō wairua tapu. Hei whakamā I ngā wai whakaaro o mātou nākau. Kia tino aroha ai mātou kia koe. Kia tika ai te whakanui I tō ingoa tapu. Ko ehu karaiti nei tō mātou ariki. Hīmene.
Hīmene. Oh, I got 2 Hīmenes in there.
Hīmene. Yep. Kia tau, kia tātou, te atawhane, o tātou ariki, o te karaiti.
Me te
aroha o te
atua, me te whiawhinga, tahitanga, ki te wairua tapu, ake, Hīmene.
Oh, kia ora mai kōrua, kia ora. Tēnā kōrua mō tō awhi, mō tō tautoko mo te kaupapa o taha Māori, me ngā waiata katoa I puta mai. Nō reira, e te whānau a te karaiti, tēnā koutou, kia ora mai tātou.
Kia ora. Thanks, Jacinthia.
Thank you. Kia ora.